Okay, hello, welcome to a brand new video. This is the INFJ Entrepreneur back on the YouTubes, bringing you a React video. I'm watching my friend Chase, otherly known as C.S Joseph. He uploaded a video with my name in it. My friend John, mutual friend of Chase and I, was like, hey, he uploaded this. Were you aware? I'm like, no. So I watched it already. I'm going to watch it again. Some of the stuff in here is a little controversial in a sense because it talks about health stuff. In a way, you could say I am a messiah, as all INFJs are, because I was talking about things that later happened in the 2020 and 2021 years, if you know what I mean. Winky wink face. And so this video was from his private community. I was not told it was being uploaded. I was talking about a lot of weird stuff in 2019. In fact, during the time of this video, there was a lot going on for me. A lot of internal shifts and a lot of different struggles. And I probably look a lot younger and different because now I got the gray hairs rolling or the white hairs, and I just have a lot more knowledge today. Anyways, let's roll.
Pa. All right, so we're recording. All right, so this...
Side note, we're not watching a 40-minute video together here. We're watching a 1.5 speed 40-minute video, so probably 35 minutes.
Is the May 2019 CSJ conference. Around 2 hours of awesomeness. We're doing first hour is basically we have a guest, and Jamie Nudelman is joining us. So last hour, we're going to be talking about competing theories of cognitive development, and we're going to be getting a little bit of a message from my INFJ mentor, where we will be able to talk about some of the... talk about an argument him and I had recently, and I think that would be very useful for everyone present. So
point being, he has an INFJ mentor. We know the way, folks. We know the way.
So anyway, Jamie's here. He's working on happiness beyond business, and kind of a different niche that most people are used to. I mean, some people, they start a business, they become successful business, but then they have a big question mark, what's next? And there's typically some other entrepreneurs out there who had the same question mark come up. Elon Musk is one of them. David Asprey, who owns Bulletproof 360, is another one. He actually...
Okay, so even more context I have to give here, and I'm going to try not to pause too often, but it is what it is. You're here because you like me. Happiness beyond business was a idea, and we still hold up the main. It was an idea that my partner and I came up with because we had been so busy with business that we had found through our experiences that entrepreneurs are unable to get off the hamster wheel, the consistent motion of work, which, by the way, is fun when you're in it and you're making progress and you're making money and you're doing the thing that drives you internally as a person, right? Based on your personality type, based on the way you psychologically think and do things, trauma, subconscious response, the list goes on, right? And so the happiness beyond business concept was that we wanted to build a driven community that's private of entrepreneurs who are sick and tired of the hustle. They still want to make progress, but they want to focus more on their life and reality. And so this was something that we wanted to start. And we were doing that, but then it sort of just fell off at some point due to other things that happened in real life. Also, it may have not been the thing for us to do in the current moment. I'd say it's something that we can do now technically because, well, I mean, come on. 6 years together, engaged, almost married. I got tons of stories for all of you on this one.
Actually brings it up in his book, The Bulletproof Diet, consistently. Jamie represents as a fitness influencer, trying to be successful in fitness, assisting people with health and wellness. And then also, if you could talk about Epstein-Barr virus and his battle with varicella viruses and how that's kind of unknown to people from the health sphere.
Oh, no.
And then also, Jamie, towards the end, maybe talk about...
Oh, my God. I'll pause later.
Absolutely critical to success. Some of them that you would find useful and not necessarily critical. And then finally, how has Jungian analytical psychology and cognitive theory actually helped you personally? So, and what is that? Yeah, it is a lot. But hey, man, you get like 45 minutes. So,
Hot seat for real.
Hot seat. Exactly.
Yo.
And remember.
Yo, look at this dude. Look at this dude. Where the fuck was that?
Competing theories of...
Oh, my God.
Assisting people with health, varicella, supplement. Finally, yeah.
Look at this dude. It's me. But he's skinny. And he's more clean shaven than me. I got this going on. This is the medical medium, Jamie. Ooh, falling for all the funny stuff.
Exactly. And remember, after we get this conference, we're going to upload it to the website, whatnot, for Ruby and above. But then we're going to have you on a public live stream where we're just having literally everybody, the entire audience will be present as well. So think of this as like a primer or a practice run, et cetera, that we all get to be here with, and then just kind of move on to the next thing, of course. Just kind of moving it up and up, as we go. So, but welcome, Jamie, to the conference, and let's do it.
Thanks, man. So yeah, I mean, I'm honored to be here. I have a lot of thoughts going on right now because for those of you who don't know, I'm an INFJ, which is beautiful because the feelings are quite imaginable right now. But yeah, so you mentioned quite a lot of topics here. Did you want to just take it down the line, open the questions?
Yeah. Talk to us first about your business and your niche. Happiness beyond business, and what exactly does that mean? And what are the needs that you have identified? And how can people really understand? Like there's big question marks that people have after they become successful in business, and because like we even see this like in education. People get their bachelor's degree or their master's degree, and then it's just like, okay, well, what's next? You know what I'm saying? So
What's next? You get a job, you work, you do something, man. But I think he's talking about like theory and understanding. We should all be learning. Always be striving to learn. All right. Stay safe, kids.
what exactly is next, right? Someone say they got their successful side hustle going, it gets more successful, becomes their main hustle, they quit their day job, they have a little bit more time on their hands than they had previously, but they're still moving forward to a business. Sometimes people start additional businesses, or sometimes people just realize, I've been obese for like the last 10 years. I probably shouldn't be anymore. What do I do? You know what I'm saying?
We should go play outside for email. Like it's
Sorry, poor
Keep
Vic
it
had the mute there.
That's cool. Go on.
So anyway, yeah. So if you could just kind of walk through like some of your ideas in
I'm
that
so
area, that would be
nervous on this
fantastic.
interview, man. My
Yeah,
God.
so this was the thing that was going on. I mean, a bit more about me. It's really about preventative healthcare because, like, the story portion of this is that my entire life I've watched my family go through health problems, disease. I've watched the majority of my family disintegrate. Not in anything like I'm not gonna call it bad ways, but it's a normal habit in like the current day and age. But it's built up over the decades, which is cancer, heart disease, hypertension, diabetes type 2. The list goes on. And
I can't even argue against this because this is literally what happened. Like my aunt died from like breast cancer, grandmother from illness, diabetes, sadness, just cancer. What else? My grandfather cancer. Cancer is like the leading cause of death because we just have this inability to focus on taking care of ourselves. And then people usually argue, but I am. But it's like, but you're not. They don't get it because the understanding of health is so skewed in today's modern world. So I won't go into it now, but like this is so true. Like I've dealt with this my entire life, watching like even my mother be a caregiver towards her side of the family, and it's so sad. My father's side is even more sad, and I love the guy. I can give that guy a hug, but he's such an ISTP stoic that it's like you're hugging a brick wall sometimes. And I just wish if he ever watches this, like please just open up, man. Like honestly, like I'm here.
And it's a growing trend now because cancer rates are rising, technology's getting worse, trying to sell us these fake fads. And by fake fads, I mean things like, I don't know, better bandwidth, 5G. You have more satellites going into the space. And
What am I talking about, man? Oh my God. I was obsessed with EMF back then. And I still am today. Like I still have devices that I use to like, create better scalar waves. But like, honestly, man, I pulled back from all this stuff. I sound like I'm losing my mind.
then there's other epidemics and things going on, which can get very, very taxing in terms of how much energy we output to that. So it drains us. But for
true, though.
taking that aside for a second, though, like that's kind of my why behind it. But the happiness beyond business is really for the entrepreneurs that they want to have personal lives. They want to live personal lives that are even richer than their bank accounts. And when we use that line, it's about how they spent the time building a business. They have and developed a company that has a culture. They have other employees. They are generating money. But the problem is that they spent so much time throughout that process, whichever way they did it, that they spent 16-hour days, 14-hour days, maybe 18-hour days. And when I was a health and fitness trainer and coach, there were days where it's just nonstop spinning. And I'm sure a lot of us know what that feels like. But there comes a point where we don't know what's coming next. And some of us, and I guess with the psychology cognitive function, some specific personalities will think so far futuristically as to what the next step has to be, and then perhaps some will not, and will be focused elsewhere. And you can correct me if I'm wrong with that, since we're studying, looking into that. But the point behind this group and this movement is that it's about the less time in business and more time with our lives. And that's something that seems and sounds so simple to digest, but it's not, because we become addicts to the habits and the conditioning we've reinforced on ourselves without even recognizing it. It's subconscious pattern and behavior. So when we do finally realize that, to break the habit of being that way is so difficult and it's so challenging. And so that's what the movement's about. It's bringing in entrepreneurs who are generating money. They have a business, they have a company. They are not stuck on income. And they're to a point where they know they have had a life before, and they still have the elements there, like family, kids, for example. They have pets, they have a girlfriend, a relationship, maybe they're engaged, maybe they have fiance, etc. Or they want to get back into the gym, they want to work on a routine, they want their health back, they want to learn about nutrition, they want to be more active and meet new people, they want a social life, they don't have too many friends. I mean, I can raise.
This guy is spitting some straight facts. My dude, my bro, 5 years ago, Jamie here, INFJ guy, just dropping the facts. He knew a lot. And I mean, you got to take care of yourself.
raise my hand here or finger and say that about from 2017 until I'll say today that it was really challenging to go through a period where I was more independent. I was working remotely from home. I wasn't in the gym anymore because I pivoted as a trainer and a health coach, working with high six-figure and lower seven-figure entrepreneurs in the internet marketing space, to literally just being a remote video editor and building websites for entrepreneurs. I did a complete pivot. And the reason I tell the story quickly is because I went from being out there externally to someone that was stuck inside internally. And so
Yeah, it's true though. I used to work as a trainer. I worked at an Anytime Fitness. It's like a franchisable gym chain that you can like pay 300-400. Maybe it's probably more now with like the market changes. But like back then, like when I worked there, it was like $400,000. You franchise the gym. It's like a Subway or McDonald's. You like get your own location, and then you run that gym ultimately. And so my old boss there, John, he's like some mortgage broker now. He does really well. A nice guy. I haven't talked to him in years. I should probably hit him up. I worked there, and essentially I was a trainer for like 11 months, almost a year, and I was working a lot. I could have done better, I could have done a lot better there, but I was working a lot. I had like really busy days. I had my own powerlifting routine. I was trying to focus on myself too, cooking meals. It's a full-time gig. Like you're working overtime, and you're only getting paid for the hours you work with your clients. So the only way to make money with a job like that, being a trainer at a gym, is you have to sell more packages to get your commission on the sale. Because if you sold a package of X amount of sessions for, let's say, like $8,000, which spans like 5-6 months based on frequency of those training sessions, 8K or 10% get $800. Great, extra bonus or extra pay on your next paycheck or at the end of the month. But then you have this client loading, and you reach a peaking point at some futuristic time. And then your life just becomes training clients, hustling, and always having to rotate in new clients. Otherwise, you're stuck. And so not bad if you want like a stable career, but you're just always on the go. And so I left that job, right? And I remember I got a client who I met in the city of Toronto. It's where I'm from. And I used to drive an hour and a half to him like 3 days a week, free. It was like a barter exchange. He'd teach me how to build a business, and then he would just let me train him. And it was like one of those things. And that was for like 3-4 months. And then it turned into this opportunity where I went from being stuck at this gym, making like $1,500 to $2K a month, barely like replacing my previous job, which I worked as a grocery store clerk. Like it's ridiculous how I'd rather have the grocery store job, but like, because it made more money, funny enough. I did the math based on my hours, and I worked a lot. But I replaced this job, cut my time in half, and I had this one client paying me $2,500 CAD a month just to drive down and train him. And I'd make him some meals here and there, right? Like just to give him some healthier food options. Like two things I love. I get out, I travel, and that's the external thing. You're out there in the real world. You're busy. And so you don't have this internal like dialogue structure like it is today, where you're like, oh, I get up, I come down here, I get this coffee from the fridge, and then I come in here and turn the lights on and like start working and filming. Like, it sounds great, but it can get really fucking lonely at some point in time. And don't mind my swearing, it's just like, it's a complete different shift. But the freedom from cutting your hours in half, my God, it's so good. Anyways, let's keep going.
So how do you think that environment changes the inside? Like, how do you think that impacts my growth, but also the way I see the world with perception? It's very different. It's very different when you're forced to be in one environment because that's the best place for you to get your work done, especially in like the video editing space and like the motion graphics, special effects kind of world. Like you're not just going to go to Starbucks, a laptop and a mouse pad and this bulky thing. It doesn't make sense. And so I tell this part of the story quickly.
And just to quickly add, that adds to it as well, because when I was doing video editing, I'm doing After Effects work, you're not doing this stuff in a coffee shop. So you're forced to be at home or in a co-working space. And so at the time, I didn't have that. So you're always stuck at home, and it sucks because you have to force yourself to go out. But then if you have a lot of work to do, there's the guilt trip.
Because I was forced into isolation mode, and I got so addicted to being afraid to talking to people, and it actually got worse. And I found it so interesting because I'm a big experimenter of these things. You mentioned talk about food supplements for success, which we'll get into later on. Obviously, I'm not going to rush through this, but given that, because you mentioned that, I am a big health hacker, and I am all about survival and looking at how the body operates on either psychology or psychological and just body process level. So it's learning how to maneuver food intake and timing and everything. So really, it was a double-edged sword because I had so much free time to be able to hack my routine in my life, but I also had this inner wanting to just have more people that I knew and wanting to get out of the shell of being afraid to be social.
What about the people who don't have the time to be able to hack their routine? Like, I got two jobs. You know what I'm saying?
I know you do. That's why when I showed up here, I was like, hey, what's going on? How are you? I can feel you. But I mean, I didn't have all the free time. It's just when you work from home, you're really able to to really build your own, morph your own routine that way. And you're not tight on time, having to drive somewhere for an hour, let's say, or, having to take care of other responsibilities. For me at that time, it was very different. And the question you asked was, how do you do it when you're so busy? Well, honestly, it's impossible to do everything, because eventually you would burn yourself out trying to take care of every single little detail. If that's how you are, it's about minimizing the amount and separating it into something that's very simple to follow. So instead of worrying about what you're eating on a micro level, it's really just knowing that you have to pick this specific thing because you know it's better for you. And there's a deeper breakdown that's not really something you want to go into, because it takes up too much mental space, and that will tax you.
Yeah.
Especially for someone like yourself. Do you find that with the 2 jobs you have? I know you have kids, and you have this community, and you have so many things pulling at you. Like, where's your head at exactly? Like, how do you actually feel?
Oh, completely spread too thin. It's true because
Actually, it is true, because I just want to comment. I think everyone at some point in time will require therapy. I think it's a legitimate requirement just to talk to somebody about what's going on, and many don't see it because it's and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's a willingness to accept that.
Many say that they don't need therapy, and then the people who say that they have the worst mindset and the worst issues. But people who say those kind of things, they may have tried therapy and it didn't work. I have a friend here who says that therapy doesn't work. Well, you need a certain type of therapy then, because there's many different streams or different forms of it. Like there's CBT therapy, there's hypnotherapy, there's baseline normal therapy, but everyone needs it. And really it's just talking to someone. I used to be part of a men's group where eight guys would meet together, and we would get all naked. No, I'm kidding. But we would just talk, and some guys would cry. It's pretty vulnerable stuff. Some men don't like it. They're too afraid to be open, but it's pretty weird when you get there, but it's cool.
Having someone from the outside externally to listen to us on what's going on the inside is able to really help us push through and break through habitual boundaries too. It's always habits at the bottom. At the end of the day, it's habits. And if anyone goes through Dr. Dispenza's work, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Becoming Supernatural, as well as many of his other books, like the placebo, there's many different points in this book where it talks about how the habit and condition builds up.
Right.
But like you said, if you quit your job, move back home, and dedicate your time to health, to wellness, to lifting and exercise, and building your business on top of that, it's not that anything would change. The only thing that would be different is that you're not working the engineering job. And then your next step is that, you probably tell yourself, how do I engineer this business? That would be the next.
Yeah, but I do think with what I'm saying, it is true. If you started going to the gym, if you started eating better, you would feel ultimately better if you weren't doing those things previously. And then if you quit one of your 2 jobs that was stressing you out, I remember this now, Chase was an engineer, and he was so busy with that, and then decided to go all in with the C.S Joseph brand. I don't know what he's doing today. I think he just got remarried, funny enough. But reality is, he's got a lot of shit going on still today. I mean, it's making those changes in your life, i.e. health and fitness and habits. It's the big thing. Remember, everyone's controlled, and I'll do a video on this, and it's not even tied to being an INFJ. It's just everyone has addictions, whether they're positive or negative, and I will share a lot about my experiences with it.
Engineering project, engineer the business, because the business is the biggest thing on top, and you're doing what you should do, as you said. So yeah, I'll comment on that.
Fair enough. But I find it really interesting that you said, less time in business, more time in living, and it's all about breaking the habit. And it is a habit. I mean, I'm an extroverted feeler just like you. And sometimes I've come to realize that I draw my self-worth based on how productive I'm being. You see, I tack on my sense of self-worth based on how productive I am. Mm-hmm. And a lot of FE users, TIFE users out there do this on a consistent basis because they lack the FI in their ego to really value themselves in that way. Yeah. Because, TIFE users have to have some kind of social proof for what they've done in order for them to feel like they've actually accomplished something, to feel good about themselves. So they focus on achievement in that regard, producing something of value, right, for others to appreciate. Now, of course, FITE users, TE users need to have, they need to achieve something so that they can have the credibility, or the credential or the street cred, as a result of, from the TE point of view, which is great. But the thing is, though, is that they already have that sense of self-worth. So you and I as FE users are kind of at that disadvantage, that emotional disadvantage, which makes it even harder to break the habit of being workaholic. I find FI users have it so much easier in that, because then they can just be like, well, I'm just not in the mood to work today, so
actually,
I'm not going to.
We feel horrible. We feel horrible. We told ourselves that.
I know, right?
Oh, it's so funny you mentioned that. I'm actually thinking right now, do I want to go to sleep after this? It'll be 5 a.m. I'll be like, let's get up and start doing work.
I know, right?
Like,
oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah, he's West Coast. Okay, so context. This video was done in end of May 2019. We were on Malta, where we are now, and he had this thing at like 3 or 4 in the morning my time in Malta, and I was like, gotta get up early. And back then it was my routine was super dialed in. I would meditate every day for like 20 minutes. We were staying in this amazing penthouse, and we had this amazing view where essentially you could see everything around where we were. So like getting up at sunrise and seeing that was like breathtaking. So that's why I was saying, like, oh, should I stay up? Because we were only there for another week or two, I think. My God, these were some golden times.
That just adds more stress, gets your adrenaline flowing, makes the Epstein bar worse. You know?
And then I'm thinking, okay, I'll have to go to bed at like 11 a.m. Then I have a meeting. So it's consistently thinking, okay, there has to be structure here. There has to be some sort of like order to a degree, or else chaos will, take over. So that's what I look at as well. Like, that's how I think on that matter. So it's so funny.
Yeah, definitely. Forget, folks, we're here with Jamie Nudelman. He's got his business, finding happiness beyond business, talking about health and wellness. And we're also going to be talking about, in part 2 tonight, competing theories of cognitive development in children. We're going to be getting into that as well. But I guess one of the main topics that I really want to talk about, other than just lifting and food and supplements, is Epstein-Barr virus. Could you please educate us on everything you know about Epstein-Barr and why it's a problem for you, and I'll even share why it's a problem for me. So.
All right. Well, I mean, I first stumbled across this stuff with like the medical medium's work, Anthony William, and I mean, the thing I have to keep in mind here is that he's good at selling it, but he's also very good at positioning the facts and truth on it. And I don't know the sources beyond, like, it's very accurate from what I've looked at and where else I go. So beyond him, though, what I've picked up is that it's basically, it lives in our body. It's always been in our body. It's been there to help us protect against certain things, like to eat away parasites or infections. The terminology I might use might not be 100% accurate because I haven't read these books in a while. I've studied it. I only learned it.
I like how I'm saying the book is true, but I haven't checked the facts. See, I hadn't developed my rational brain yet at this point, and I want this to be a lesson for INFJs. It's very easy to believe things that you're told. I've always been very gullible, right? There's a story I always tell. When I was in 2nd grade, this guy, he like gave me a glass, and he said, hey, you should smash this. So I smash it, dragged to the principal's office, right? Because back then it's like, oh, God forbid you break a glass, And they're like harping on me for this. My mom's like, she comes to see and she's like, so? Broke a glass. So? Aren't you going to do anything? What do you mean do something? You broke a glass. Why not? Anyways, I was obsessed with the medical medium stuff. But really, like, I had this track record, and I still do it today on some things. I won't even lie. It's just, you just believe what you see without even double checking facts. And I developed more of a rational brain to question the things I've been told and heard and I see because I'm in a relationship with an ENFP who's very rational. And we're both very much 100% verified as these types, by the way.
What I learned. And what ENFP does is it's basically like a cell. It's kind of like grows in the system. And over time, as it dies, it stacks its bodies. It stacks those cells or those microcells, and it causes waste to pile up. And the problem with that is that it fills everything in the body over time. And
like my bile ducts.
Yeah, so it's basically manipulating itself to.
That's actually true, though. The big thing today is about bile flow. And again, like this might sound hypey, but that's why people get gallbladders removed, because the cholesterol builds up, it calcifies into a stone, and then it doesn't pass the duct because you're not eating the right combination of foods to cause that reaction. And so if bile sludge builds up, then you have a problem. That's why your feces look brown and green and yellow, whatever color it is. It's bile. And so that's the focus, by the way. We'll go into that in another video because apparently I'm like a health genius.
Continue growing, and then it feeds on itself. And because it's feeding on its own self, it creates more of itself. And when that happens, you have
a cannibalistic virus.
Basically, what you just said, yeah, it's cannibalistic. It's literally the zombie, and it wasn't meant to do that originally. Because what happened was, as we went from like the 19th century to the 20th, like where we are now, war happened, more metals got exposed, and radiation. Like heck, with what happened in Japan in 2011, that was huge for the world. Like I think everyone should stop eating seafood at this point because it's just ridiculous. But of course, we
do not stop eating seafood. I live in the Mediterranean. It's goddamn good. Live your life.
aren't robotic, and we're not really. Like soon we'll be like in the AI world, from what I've been.
Yes, we are in the AI world, and it's goddamn great.
Like the thing is, the food we eat is not always the greatest, and there's a lot of shamming and lies and things out there that make us just assume it's okay when it's not. And that's why, like the better thing that I learned was that when I went plant-based and tested that out for a while, not raw vegan, but I cut out a majority of the things that caused me problems with my body. Plus, I'm a big experimenter. I noticed there was more clarity, less brain fog, more focus.
It's true, there is. I went plant-based for about 6 months, and it was on and off. There's no real structure or system. I don't give two fucks about the animals, honestly. I'm not one of those plant-based vegans. I'm not a vegan gains. I don't have time to waste on this world to protest about something that's not going to make me money, make me feel good. I did it just to heal my stomach, and it made a big difference. But it was a terrible lifestyle to follow because you are so lacking in nutrients, and it's very hard to source things. Luckily for me, I was in Canada where you can find a lot of things. Today you can't because Health Canada is restricting and removing natural health products for some certain reason. I'm not going to go into it. So finding things could be very hard. There's ways around it now, of course, that I could share if people want to know in the DMs, but it's hard. But yes, plant-based works, and it served the purpose.
And then slowly I reintroduced higher quality, like grass-fed sources of meat because I don't get stuck on a label. And that's just that's
exactly
my system, because I focus on me first and then the outer world. It's about me first.
I'll just let myself talk.
Not about everyone else. And so Epstein-Barr basically cannibalized itself, and that's actually how, according to what the source says, how cancer grows in different organs, in different tissues. So for instance, they say thyroid cancer or all these conditions you get with elevated thyroid levels or lower thyroid levels that require medication comes from Epstein-Barr. That first is in the liver, because the liver is basically the powerhouse of all functions in the body. I think there's like over 2,000 functions of the liver, and like, I sound like a medical meeting. It's just because the information can be absorbed.
It's all good, man.
What's his claim? Like 500, there's only 500 well-known sources by medical science and research in that system that are documented on what the liver function is and what it does. And apparently there's 2,000 more. And so because of all
Yeah, there's 2,000 more, according to the ghost of the demonic devil that follows him.
that, all we have to know is that the liver takes care of the body. When we eat food that's wholesome and has micronutrients, like your vitamins, your magnesium, your copper, selenium, etc., it stores in the liver. And if Epstein-Barr virus goes into the liver and builds up there where it can hide, because a lot of things, what we have to remember as humans is that we're not like this perfect being. Within every single human, and I don't want to say this because it's kind of gross, but there's parasites in us. There's parasites that are living. And within those parasites, there's fungi, which that can lead to things like CIRS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome. 30% of humans have it in North America.
Yeah, CIRS is from chronic exposure to mold and anything that is, sort of like a fungus. So if you, like here in Malta, there is chronic, build-up of mold everywhere. And so over time, you would develop conditions and responses and symptoms to what mold can do. So if you think you're losing your mind, if you're having a rash, if you're sort of having some sort of like organ issue, it could be the fact that there's exposure to mold, because mold builds up and mold can do damage to your body. If you remove mold, you will start to heal. And this is usually what happens when I visit my family in Canada. We leave Malta for 2 weeks and we go there, and then essentially I feel better because the air is fresher and there's more green in Canada compared to Malta. Remember, Malta's an island. There's rocks. There's not a lot of grass, not a lot of land in that type of sense, right? Like nature, you'll get nature, but it's very rocky. It's very bush-like. It's very, not even sand-like. It's just dirt. So mold, it does damage to you. Not good.
It's like a toxicity to mold, let's say.
And mold can build up, right? I have friends in Canada who had to go to like certain medicine doctors, like functional doctors who do muscle testing, who do other types of medical kind of procedures to see what's going on, like testing. They have mold build up in their brain, in their stomach, in their organs. It's not just something you breathe in and it goes away. Like it becomes a part of you. It's very intense.
Stuff like that. And that gives you like exhaustion, fatigue. And then within fungi, there's bacteria. And then within bacteria, there's a virus. So what happens when you live it like that, and when you kill, let's say, a parasite like Epstein-Barr, and it's just sitting there, this dead body cell, everything inside of it comes out, and that's the next trigger, and that's the next thing in the system. So to simplify it, if they're stacking in the liver and they're overpopulating, eventually they're going to run up to a different location. They're going to infect another spot, which would be, for example, your spleen. And I have it too. When I go to I have a lady 2 hours from my home in Toronto who I drive to. People think I'm nuts because I drive 2 hours to a certain massage lady, but she's not like a regular massage.
So
yeah, she drives 5 hours to a lady that can reduce her pain in like instants.
All right. This is good.
Not things that are tied to RMT at all. It's very advanced. It's stuff you learn that varies from specific people. My left rib, she noticed something's off, and then she's like, "Oh, your spleen is so enlarged." And the spleen gets enlarged because of Epstein-Barr, but it also ties into, from what I understand, is the HHV, the HHV, which is will be under a different section of, I don't know, that ties into like the herpes and the CMV. It's a whole stream of strains that exist out there.
Human beings understand bacteria more than virology.
Listen, here's the thing. When I work out at gyms and I watch people, like I watch people all the time, even as a trainer, people would just like touch weights and like just unconsciously touch their face and like lick their fingers or like bite their nails. And I'm like, dude, you're touching weights. You're touching bacteria. So in my mind, it's not always us purposely getting what we have. It's accidentally doing something that harms us. For instance, how often do people actually like disinfect their phone? They're on a bus, right? They're at the gym. Like I haven't disinfected my phone in months because I'm just experimenting.
In case.
Because you don't know what's going on. And so with Epstein-Barr virus, going back to that, it builds up in the liver, and then it'll go to the thyroid, it'll go to the spleen, and it'll just spread throughout the body. And over time, it has 4 different stages. And the biggest takeaway on that is the second stage is what they call it's the kissing disease. It's mono. It's what you get. It's when you're like in your teens. Some get it later on.
Hey, I had mono. Who else had mono?
It's basically when you get that illness, that sickness. And I think I had it when I was 19, which means that, well, the EBV, the Epstein-Barr must have stacked during that time frame. And then usually what doctors say is that it's okay after that. Like it's gone. It's not going to do anything. Well, no, it's in the liver and it's hiding. And that's when you get to stage 3 where it starts to do nerve damage. And, as some of you might know, the vagus nerve in the system is the most, like the biggest network, is part of that network system. And it's a very big nerve. And if that one gets damaged, you have all sorts of pain. I have a friend in Toronto who has pain throughout her entire rib and her back. And every single RMT, every physio, every chiro, every osteo, they just don't know how to figure it out. And it's because they're not connecting the dots here. And that's the problem. There's like a prerequisite that must be known now. And unfortunately, a lot of the research and science is not fully caught up yet, which is what is being shown. So the biggest cure with the whole Epstein-Barr virus is to, as you mentioned, reading in my opinion, too, the medical medium books. It's already done. Like I consider an educate forever, write my own books, but no, take his stuff and just self-absorb it for a couple of weeks and implement and flush your body. He started that whole celery juice movement. Cassie and I do celery every day.
Side note, guys, I just need to be very real here. When it comes to health, it's a very difficult approach to follow. Number one, because you're basing your choices off of a fear and panic towards a cause that's happening to you, something that's going on potentially, or you don't want X thing someone has told you in an Instagram or TikTok video now about, because apparently every single food group is bad for us. You'll see videos about eggs, fruits, carbs, meat, this, that. It's not good for you. The only way, and this is the 2024 Jamie's Health Edition revised version, is you do expensive ass blood panel work for like $600. And then what happens is you do the blood panel work to see all your lab work. And from there, what you do is based on those results, then you apply the right supplementation, then you apply the right diet. You don't have to go on Instagram and follow these carnivore bros, like these people who are like telling you that you're stupid for not doing this. You have to first know, based on data and actual information, where you're at and what's going on. What's your TSH levels at, your thyroid stimulating hormone? How's your liver health? How's your magnesium levels? What's your copper balance to iron ratio? People say iron's bad. Some say copper's bad. No, it's context. You need context first on what you're even dealing with, right? For me, I deal with things that are, because like my spleen's not enlarged anymore. I have maxed out adrenals. That's what I have. I might have some bioflow issues. What else? That's it. I mean, I have white hairs coming in. It's age, it's DNA structure. There's ways to maybe prevent it and reduce it and correct it. It just depends on what you care about. And this is probably a good reason why you want to make as much money as you can and to start a business. FYI, this is called Unlocking Wellness and Success. It should actually, the revised version should be called How the Heck Do You Make Enough Money So You Can Get Everything You Want and Live Forever? Or as long as you can, feeling good. Because if you don't make enough money, you're kind of screwed. But anyways, let's see what this dude has to say next.
And you just do it and you feel better. Your
I,
body slows down.
I found it really interesting that from a celery juice standpoint, because he recommends 16 ounces a day every morning when you wake up of fresh pressed celery juice. And I get one of those masticating juicers, one of those omegas, and I juice with that. And he says that because of that, the salts, the specific salts that's contained in the celery juice itself, it actually leads to an increase in hydrochloric acid within your stomach, which gives your immune system and your digestive tract all the weapons it needs to actually reduce the viral load of Epstein-Barr in your system, not including also other bacteria, the cofactors like Helicobacter pylori, which when it breaks the blood-brain barrier, women develop multiple sclerosis, for example, or Devic syndrome, although Devic syndrome was more Epstein-Barr related because varicella gets into your central nervous system, and it can also produce lesions just like multiple sclerosis can. It's Devic syndrome. Now, a woman who I was in a relationship with for 4 years actually developed tumors on lesions on her brainstem and at the base of her brain, and she was going to die. It was really horrible. But we had John Brisson involved, who's going to be with us next month. We did a bunch of research. We changed her diet immediately, and all of a sudden, those lesions are gone. And she lived. I mean, half her body stopped working. Like one hand was warm, the other hand was cold. It was a very scary situation. She couldn't feel her legs or her arms or half her face. Completely neurological disorder. And it was just funny and amazing to me to watch, as this ENFJ in front of me just started deteriorating, and the doctors could do absolutely nothing about it. They're like, "Oh, this is inoperable." And I'm thinking to myself, why operate? How about solving the problem? Which they just don't know. They don't understand the inner workings of Epstein-Barr and how dangerous it can really be, and the fact that almost everybody has it, right? So I just find it interesting. I've completely redesigned my own food plan, and that's the thing. Like I wonder, shifting the discussion away from Epstein-Barr, because what it did to me, it destroyed my liver. It's in the process of destroying my spleen, but I'm getting better as I follow the protocols, according to John Brisson and Anthony William, for example, and moving in a better direction from there. But what is your philosophy when it comes to implementing a food plan from a wellness standpoint? Like how do you go about doing it from there?
Yeah, the funny thing with me is, like I test a lot of things, and I find what feels good, and then I try and get tested on certain areas to see what's actually happening. For instance, when I go back home, I'm doing what they call a biomeridian test, which checks all the meridian points, Chinese medicine, and the test can show you what disease you have, what viral activity you have. I mentioned earlier, bacteria, like viruses, etc. So literally, for health with me, like for instance, I've been traveling for quite some time. I'm not at home where I'm at one spot. I know exactly what's fully coming in, how much comes in versus how much goes out versus comes in, because everything's changing when you travel. And so you get those little temptations to break the diet. Like I had a donut last week, or actually I had two, and I'm like, yeah, this probably had egg in it. I didn't want to eat eggs. I've cut out egg and many things.
I've completely cut out eggs. I've completely cut out dairy. Eggs is the worst thing that you could eat if you are dealing with viruses, because
I eat like 6 eggs a day, bro. I brought butter back. I eat everything, man. I cured lactose intolerance by eating dairy. Like, world's nuts.
Did you realize, folks, that in order for them to create vaccines, they grow the viruses inside of eggs? So don't
they use eggs as they feed the viruses on eggs, and that was the other thing too. But
guys, just eat the eggs. Move on.
Which this will tie in too, is that's the last thing I'll mention, is that everyone has viruses in them.
And we saw how great that went in 2020 or 2021. Now everyone's sick out of their minds. I wonder what went wrong there. Did we maybe take the wrong thing and not focus on the correct thing? I'll give you a hint. It's right here. Unlocking wellness.
To that point, and they basically feed on heavy metal toxicity and just anything viral loaded in your system. So that's what they do. And so that's why people go in the celery juice, flushes everything out with those parent cholesterol salts.
Let me know in the comments if I should do a series called INFJ the celery juice for 30 days. I'll buy a juicer and I'll do it.
I say it in such a vague, like untrusting way. It's just that you have to keep an open mindset. You have to be monitoring what's going on. Like, is this actually working for me? Instead of just falsely believing, you have to actually just look.
Keep a journal, folks. Keep a log. It's really helpful.
True.
It is. Like when I first did celery juice, I had a week straight of just, I'll be honest, like my bowels were just flushing out metals. They say you have about
had the
20
shits.
pounds of toxic load in you that's just sitting there. If you're overweight or have a bit of a shove in the stomach, it could just be that. It might not be actual overweight growth. It's just parasites and growth activity that's just sitting there in your stomach, or excess protein and stuff. So shifting to more of the health belief system, I've done every diet on the face of the planet, like every concept besides the keto diet,
Not
which
true.
I believe in, only because
which the keto diet actually caused my Epstein-Barr to get worse.
Exactly.
I had liver failure, and it's why I'm talking right now, because I started this community and this channel because I was going to die. And I was afraid everything I knew was waste.
And sometimes the things we go through challenge us it inspires us to start something. Like for me, I just started my YouTube channel. It took me months, but I finally did it. And now I'm going to be shifting with the community, for instance, as well. Happy to got business with all these health beliefs I have and all these lifestyle routines. And obviously I'm not going to flood information like this. Some of the members from the group are here from 20K Nation, for instance. Like you're hearing a side of me that I don't really talk about in those groups or anywhere, because I don't want to over obsess. This is kind of like behind the scenes. But for getting to the point, I'm a big believer in micronutrients. So eat wholesome food, understand where your food comes from, and learn about agriculture. Learn about what the trend is. I mean, we're in a current day and age where food is becoming larger. It's growing at rapid paces, and it's losing nutrient value and like density. For instance, you have to eat, let's say, like I eat like 4 to 5 apples a day just to get the previous amount of nutrients that used to be in it. And it's kind of like a current argument, because some say that, it's the carbon change, or it's, with what's going on with greenhouse emissions and gas. And if people here have like information on that, then go for it. And I've seen some people post up on the right side. Again, was talking about that, which is pretty cool. And so because food's always changing, and we're in a world where there's always adjustments happening, it's important just to know where your food is sourced. So like when we buy celery or we buy other food, we can see where it comes from. Spain, or it comes from the Netherlands, and that will change the growth of what they're creating. But most food is made in an environment where it's man-made. A lot of things are processed. And so I believe that processed food is a no-no. So majority of the aisles in a grocery store, you never go to. You never need to go down there. I'm not against things like dairy. Like I currently eat like mozzarella right now, but like cheese in itself it can be harming when you're just like, if you do it, I find if you eat that stuff for too long, it stacks in the system. And what you currently have in that moment in time, if it's not dealt with, will build up. So it's better to flush that out and do like a cleanse every couple months. Just why the Liver Rescue book talks about like his 9-day cleanse, which does work.
Okay, so you should do some sort of detoxing and cleansing, but you don't want to look at it like that. Like I just look at it like you're changing the route of food. You're pulling back, you're rotating in and out different sources. I live in the Mediterranean. Cheese is a delicacy here. I guess. I don't know. It's just common. I eat tons of cheese if I want to. Like I'm not restrictive right now. So my own context might not even apply anymore, but like I don't follow anything I'm talking about in this sense.
It really does. So you feel better. So this question is always so hard because I can go into so many areas. You can tell it's kind of like I'm like kind of pondering a lot. So do you want me just to go into like a day in the life kind of thing, or?
Yeah. A day in the life is fine.
Okay.
I guess I guess we could break it down to like principles. You already listed one principle, which is basically no processed food.
Yes.
And then avoid dairy, which is important. And then we obviously have the no eggs rule, specifically, you know, for those of us who are suffering symptoms relating to Epstein-Barr, which most people are, and they don't even know. And then, but yeah, what other principles do you think that you could share then? Basically?
Okay, so quality of meat is very important. Obviously, so we're taking everything away from budget here. Some people have like budgets on what to buy. You can buy anything in the world, highest grass-fed quality meat. Go to the farms, find it. Again, it goes back to time and how much availability we have.
True.
I think grains are kind of off, like wheat. I think wheat's like the worst thing that disconnects the gut to the brain.
In the U.S., it's the worst. In Europe, it's better, I find, but it depends.
The gut is its own system in itself. It's its own. It's a different part of the body. And so with that, you don't want to have inflammation, which it will cause. And you know, if you want to test that, just try having like a giant pasta meal lunch. You'll be exhausted. Add cheese, and you're even more exhausted. And that feeds everything.
That's true. I can second that one.
Now,
but with that stuff, you want to make the portions smaller.
I worked with a company that had this belief system, at least the co-founder had this belief system that vegetables are just horrible for you, like no kale, no broccoli, no this, no that. And I was like, why is he talking about that? Like he was a big fan of tubers. And then this is when it hit me that every single health influencer person, whatever, has their own belief system because they had success. So I realized I have to step into my own understanding of what I want to do. And so like vegetables, sometimes it's a hit or miss every day. I'll cycle through like the usual like stir fries, like where I can throw in garlic, and then onion and broccoli and all these cruciferous vegetables. And yeah, sure, you know, doing it every couple of days, cool. And that's the system. As long as within a week's time, I'm touching different food.
Think about it. Brian Johnson, the guy who's trying to live for like a million years, he's plant-based, doesn't eat meat. He's on TRT, which is ridiculous. And he actually eats broccoli with lentils and stuff. Yet that's his protocol based on what the science reflects and the research reflects. Yet you see carnivore people eating steaks, no vegetables, tons of tubers and potatoes and stuff like that. And just fruit. No actual like real carbs, just fructose. It's like, what's the answer here? And again, it's like, do your blood work. It's very much dependent on the result. Like, do you want inflammation? Do you want this? Do you want that? There's markers you can't check so easily just by being at home and doing a blood test. There's things you need to spend a lot of money on to get answers to. So you have to find a diet and protocol that works for you based on your budget, your lifestyle, and how much money you want to throw at it. That's the truth. It's either a hobby or it's just another crush that you're trying to deal with.
Food sources, I'm getting different, plants into my system, different meat sources, cool. But I don't really over-obsess that much anymore. My biggest thing is on the micronutrients. So trace minerals, because our water is just horrible. Most water is just potent with fluoride, which comes from aluminum, basically. It's a neurotoxin, which does damage liver and sits in there. So it's better to really have better water quality. Don't buy a Brita filter. You know, reverse osmosis, add trace minerals back, so it takes away minerals and clears it. Or
dog shit.
Get a Berkeley filter. Costs a couple $100. But you know what?
No, don't buy the Berkeley. Don't.
That's a couple $100 to save your health. If you're something you have to drink every day.
Get reverse osmosis. You know, get that, and then add minerals back. Easiest, budget-friendly, like $300, done.
A half to 4 liters, 5 liters for someone trains, exercises. And then the other thing is, I eat a lot of fruits. That's the biggest thing I've changed. And maybe it's because of the influence on medical medium, but I eat a crap ton of dates. I eat a lot of apples. I eat a lot of frozen fruit, cherries, kiwis, bananas, pineapple. When I get sick and get like a cold, I eat a whole pineapple because the bromelain from the stem and the core of the pineapple, which by the way, they cut out when you buy like a pre-cut pineapple. It's just how I do it. That stuff is amazing. And of course, obviously with flus and fevers, it's a little different. And so you can see like everything's about understanding what each food source can give you, because every food is different. Every nutrient it gives you is specific. For instance, in Bulgaria, when I was there prior to Malta, I found they had roasted apricot seeds, which are high in B17, which is a very, very big vitamin for preventing cancer. Obviously, cancer is a big topic too, because there's like hundreds of cancers, and there's different causes, and like stage 1 and stage 4 where it spreads, where the immune system has failed you, which is exactly the point and why I eat this way, because it's the ability to make your immune system as strong as possible, which is why it's going to cut out all these things like eggs that feed pathogens and feed viruses. Because if you feed the virus, it'll build it up, and then it hits a tipping point where then you get something wrong with the system, and then that's where you go to the doctor. And he's like, "Yo, man, I don't know, but here's like it's all in your head kind of answer." So you see how it all kind of stems? It's such a
times, yeah.
Well, I just went to the hospital here to get checked for a couple things. I mean, it's pricey stuff, but like I was like, wow. I said like, yo, like you're actually like you're not like a medical doctor back in North America. And he was shocked, and I'm like, you're not. Like you actually give thorough answers and understand what's going on. It was very different versus the so-called like this is my one opinion and that's it. I'm not open to it.
Yeah, the doctors here on Malta actually know quite a bit. They're well versed. I'm not saying they're like, you know, top-notch pro, you know, mega, I don't know what to define them with, but they're way better than the ones in North America. I'll tell you that.
And I found that strange.
The STJ way, as most people would notice.
Is that it?
A lot of allopaths are STJs. Yeah.
Like the specialist doctors know a ton. more than I would have like experienced in America.
And this is my opinion, and you're just gonna have to get over yourself. It's really frustrating. A lot of people don't realize that, psychologically speaking, the majority of doctors out there are STJs, and those are the people who are the fastest to put their heads in the sand.
I don't like that because with my family, like I talk to my family throughout the week, and I was reading how someone had like, I think they did testing on their blood pressure and they dropped it by 20 Hg. And I don't study that stuff, so honestly, this is like unsolicited like information from my end. But it's like they dropped their blood pressure went down by 20 Hg, and then their cholesterol went down by 40 points. And I'm like, okay, so what did they do to do that? And they were just juicing celery. I'm thinking, could it be that, or like the entire mindset switch to believe in that if they go through this process and start focusing on the right foods, such as celery juice, and including with things like potato and tubers, sweet potato, and bringing in more of those fruits and vegetables that help support the system and give you micronutrients, that perhaps everything will reverse itself. Because let's remember here that although it's the food we're eating, it's what's inside of us. There was a time when I had a heavy buildup of candida. I did a test on this, a couple different tests. I did one where like you spit in water in the morning and you come back to it in like an hour and you'll see it growing because it's bacteria. That's what it is. And that was one test I did, and I was like, that's kind of cool, kind of gross actually. But and then
I don't think that's actually a real test. I think I just fell for some crap.
I was like, okay, what do I do? And so I cut out sugar, I cut out wheat, cut out alcohol, cut out caffeine and coffee, which coffee is both good and bad in my opinion. Dave Asprey, you mentioned, he talks about his experience with that because he had SIRS.
But then Jack Cruz and Anthony William were like, well, it could contribute to adrenal fatigue, so you got to be careful.
Measure where you're at. Just like stage 4 adrenal fatigue means you're on the bed, you can't move, like you're done. And one of my clients had a stage 3. He just, although he was doing other things like stacking hallucinogens with coffee and pre-workout, like you're asking for it.
Oh my god, my past client who paid me the $2,500 a month after the training gig, he was always on freaking LSD. That guy. He doesn't do drugs now. He's married with a kid. He's going off grid. I'm happy for him. Don't talk to him anymore, but very successful entrepreneur. Can't bash that. When they're successful, you can't bash that, man. Their life choices, you could say I don't want to do that based on what I saw, but look, everyone has their struggles, man. That's what I'm just trying to say.
You're asking for a change.
That's why I completely abandoned pre-workout. I don't do pre-workout at all.
Yes.
Just drink coffee. It's easy.
Well, I worked with KinoBody.com for quite some time, and I don't know where they source their stuff from, but they brought together a pre-workout that has like.
I am working with them now. Thank you for the recommendation.
You're doing their program?
Yeah, I am. I'm doing the KinoBody, Kino Warrior system, and it's
Kino. Oh yeah, Greg. KinoBody.com. Let's see what they're up to. While we're here, the Mojo Stack. Wow, what's this built with? Shopify, Hyros, Pixel. Oh wow, very good. Sorry, folks. Just curious to see what good old Gregory's doing. Programs. Movie star. Lazy ripped. Yo, I like this. Hey, man, are you lazy? Do you hate training? Get ripped in 12 weeks being lazy. What kind of gear they got? Belt? Glasses? These glasses are probably worth like $5. I used to work with these guys. Probiotics. I'd say the Octane is the one that I was talking about. Yeah, this stuff's good. Their original one was good.
And it's pretty good. I didn't think the guy was credible up until the point when he started talking about his fitness plan. And it's like, okay, 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. And I'm like, yes, finally someone understands, because I'm so tired of people saying 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which is just overloading the system. In reality, it's actually 0.64 up to 0.8, basically.
That's true.
So there's a range there. You don't necessarily have to have that high range. You're counting your calories or your macronutrients. By the way, I don't have to count calories. You count macronutrients. That's what you're supposed to do.
And tying it back to Happiness Beyond Business, a community that Captain and I are building, with our network and some of those who are here that are also in the group, that's the philosophy too. Like, I can teach people how to track calories. Like, I used to do professional photo shoots where I would get ripped, like not like the steroid injected, lean down to that 6% stage on stage, like body fat, because everyone in the competing space uses steroids, and I'm like, that's fine actually. I'm not against steroids. If you have to for your sport, you have to. Like, even powerlifters use it because it gives you a further edge to learn about like what your body responds to. But obviously with health, you're declining and damaging organs. So it's the risk that you take with that. I'm just putting that out there first. But I used to do these photo shoots, and the protocols required a lot of discipline, which I don't really have, but willpower that I do have. And I would just go to the gym at night, sit in the sauna for 30, 40 minutes, and just think and imagine and know the protocol and know what I have to eat, weigh my food out. It's not hard to weigh food. It really isn't.
Yeah, I have a graduated cylinder where I put like my oil in. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And here's the thing. If anyone here is obsessed, because it creates an addiction, by the way, and addiction both can be positive and negative, and I'm just making that aware.
Whoa. Holy crap. I was talking about this back then. Wow. I didn't realize that.
Because like you can have like addiction to drugs. And a lot of my friends who are the ENFJs, I got one friend addicted to psilocybin because he had an out-of-body experience with that and quit his job and changed it.
I like how I sound proud about this. That guy's now living in Mexico and he's married and off-grid. I think he lost it.
his life. But he was addicted to hallucinogens and went into more synthetic things. And I felt so bad. So I was like, why? Why, man? And so then he learns over time that you have to let go because the inner work comes outside of that. And that's just kind of like a switch if you don't want to do
The guy's an asshole too. Like, most selfish person I've ever met in my life.
meditation. But like the body is addicted to that. And then it can also be in a positive way too. You can get addicted to drinking teas, addicted to making celery juice. Like there was a time I was addicted to making celery juice every day. Now I'm kind of like I'll skip a day. I don't feel like doing it, but then that's kind of like, where's my willpower?
Yeah, the amount of guilt that I have if I'm not measuring my food every day is
Yes.
that guilt or that addiction or the guilt addiction, because like the guilt will come, especially if you're an FE user. It's terrible. So we're about out of time before we go into our next segment here. But I wanted to just real quick take 2 minutes on supplements. What are the top supplements that people should take to just maximize their general health from your point of view?
Okay, I'm going to guess here because I have my own protocol now that I think is pretty key. Let's see if my up-to-date version matches the 2019 version of Mr. Strudelman. It's my other name. You can call me the Strudel. We got vitamin C. We got sunlight for vitamin D if you can get it. Otherwise, be careful with synthetic. Not the best. Let's see. Beef liver's cool. Get your nutrients. I'm just looking over here at my stack here. What else would you take? Zinc could be useful in some ideals. Depends. Probiotics might be useful. Notice I'm using might. For me, I have reflux issues. That's the new progression here. It's not Epstein-Barr. It turned into reflux. So now it's about TUDCA for bile flow. Again, once you know the problem, you take it. But keeping this towards people and what they just generally need, I don't know. Vitamin C, sunlight. What else could you possibly take? The beef liver's fine. Magnesium, the big mofo. And then trace minerals. There you go.
Okay, so there's a lot of talk of supplements because some say they're just not good for you. They're synthetic, they're fake, they don't really work. They inflame the body, they damage the body. First of all, I'm not going to go there because it's too. We'll be here for 2 years, and I would even research the space for that. Plus, it's too much. Your eyes doesn't want it unless you do. We have a couple people here in the comments who are like going deep here, and I love it because that's the stuff that I could have pulled out for this. So supplements. I would normally say that trace minerals. Number one, get trace minerals, put that in your water and play with that. Some people who have acute depression or have these this anxiety, this mental illness, will say they take trace minerals. There's a book on this I can reference later on that they just gave them trace minerals. And trace minerals are just the salts, a lot like the magnesium, the potassium, the chloride, all that stuff. And basically what it does is it gives your body what it wants. And if you don't have a big buildup of candida, which will parasites that consume all the nutrients in your food, meaning you're not getting what you're eating, what you're thinking you're getting, which is why you're still exhausted. If that's the case, then trace minerals help. 5 to 10 drops in the morning, throughout the day or at night. And you start small, build it up. And I ran out a long time ago, and I've noticed very big differences. But I'm not obsessed, so I'm okay. Other things, Epstein-Barr virus, at least you want to use lysine. We talked about this before. Lysine's good. I do about 2,000 or 3,000 a day. And I don't. I
do about 6, honestly.
I did 1,000 yesterday. I lied. But that's the point. You have to be hardcore because you're facing the spleen. Talk to Brittany, by the way. I know you're busy, but talk to Brittany. Ever tap in? She'll check in on that. And so,
and you said cat's claw too, right?
Yes, I was using. So cat's claw's cool. I was using liposomal cat's claw by Quicksilver Scientific. I obviously ran out. There's no point importing it and getting it shipped here. It's no point at all. It's gonna cost too much. And that's the thing. It's nanoparticles, so it absorbs in your mouth. So you hold it there under your tongue 2 minutes, and it'll absorb. And it's a heavier dose. And cat's claw will go right through the liver. It'll destroy anything that's hiding there to a degree. You gotta consistently use it. And cat's claw and NAC is good for healing the liver because the liver's the power.
That's not everyday people supplements.
So if your liver's not functioning and it becomes a fatty liver, that's why you're gaining weight. That's why you're not healthy, as well as other things. It'll clear things like Epstein-Barr. It'll clear things like HPV to a degree. You can actually cure HPV within 6 months of doing this. It's consistent within other measures too. So that's other things I can get into, like sound frequency healing, right technology. That one. It's good too, fun times. Or Oregon energy. There's all these different things. And other supplements. Ester C is cool. Vitamin C, we need that stuff. It's good.
Yes.
I have 6 grams of that.
I have Ester C here. It's very nice. It penetrates the cell quicker, apparently. I'm not going to read claims and just believe it.
That's a day. I'm going to be doing another 2 grams soon. I'm actually sweating right now because of the amount of vitamin C I've been taking.
I don't take it. I had a powder here, but I don't take it. I actually stopped. I just take lysine, a bit of zinc. Now, here's the big one. Zinc is the big one because a lot of men have pornographic addiction. They watch too much sexual content. And I know this because in my past I used to have this. I'm open about it because if I don't speak up, people are going to never share this stuff. So they're addicted to pornography. They're addicted to watching these things.
I had a 4-year addiction to it during high school, so I completely understand where you come from.
But that's the thing. It's even to this day, it's great to look at the fantasies of things that we want to have, but it's not realistic. When you fall in love with someone, it's not like that. And when you're able to actually just be focused and centered on that, you win. So you said 2 minutes, so I'm running with time. Zinc's big because men are just losing zinc. The body is literally using more than it needs. It's because of dopamine and how the receptor fires, which would be more of an epigenetic thing, how your genes are.
I don't know what I was talking about here. I think I was trying to really say that if you watch pornography and ejaculate to it, you're reducing the mineral load, I guess, and nutrients from whatever is in that, if there is anything. And so zinc, you have to build it back up, I guess, maybe.
They're altered in the moment of food and intake and life. And that goes back to circadian rhythms, as you mentioned, which is why you want to wear your blue light glasses, which I'm not wearing, but probably not.
I got some nice.
Those are good too. Blue light blocking, that's not a supplement though. I like how I'm being so critical on myself. I do the rabbit hole tangents. Holy crap.
blue light Oakleys. So
Oh, damn. I've been using the Swannies, but I want to get the True Darks, like the red ones. So that's the other thing. Is there anything else I can suggest? Honestly, when I was going through a lot of stress, I used L-theanine with GABA, which also includes Silver Scientific offers. It's again a liposomal. You take it, you center down. I also suggest CBD to a degree. But again, anything like this is a drug. Like CBD it's not going to make you high. It makes you feel calmer, but it's quality. If you get the same thing, like liposomal nanoparticle, you'll just feel that stuff instantly. You're like, whoa, this is cool. And then your stress levels go down. If there's anything you can do, L-theanine, GABA, and CBD, just reduce stress. If you reduce stress, you reduce aging, and you're just better at
reduce aging. That's true though, because like you stress less. L-theanine is a big one I talk about with you guys in the INFJ community. Take that with your coffee; it'll relax you. It's basically I think it's a dopamine. It generates dopamine, so it can help you relax more when you're stressed out. And I do think it's a serotonin upregulator, if I'm not mistaken.
Focusing on your work, not worried about things, you're not having a heart attack, you're not giving yourself adrenal fatigue from all this pumping out of adrenaline, and etc. So those are my thoughts.
We're
And
almost
it's
there.
always changing, so
One more
those are my
minute.
suggestions.
it's not a bad thing that's changing. We always have to consistently hear it as much as we can.
I'm just thinking of what I used to take because I run out of a lot of things here. I just chose to not take things to see how my body would react. Curcumin's great, bromeline's great, frankincense is great. There's a certain clay you can take that flushes your system.
Bentolite.
But that's not relevant. I just named funny things at this point. So you can tell I'm like really just getting restless.
How skinny I am.
That I would really suggest.
Well, I mean, partly combined at 3 in the morning. So,
Yeah.
well, 4 in the morning at this
No
point.
kidding.
So,
That is it.
all right, cool. Well, thank you, Jamie, for joining us and being our guest for this conference. I really appreciate it. I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break.
Okay, there. You enjoy that break, Chase? All right, let's read the comments. What kind of comments did we get? Because I don't know if I even wanted this to be here. It's very interesting looking at S&P's reaction. People are quite different in the way they metabolize food and respond to the environment. True. Success is defined by the person. Your win button, one of your video. Okay, whatever. Makes sense that majority of general practitioners would be STJs. The clay might be bentonite. Yes. Activated charcoal might have a similar effect, but it's mostly used to be actually something toxic. It depends. Oxygenated or oxygen-based charcoal might be good. After this video, my boyfriend is sure we can make something even funnier. Well, let's see. Where is season 4 and 6? This guy looks more like an ISFJ. Holy crap. See, this is why I don't like the personality typing communities on a deep scale like this, because everyone's like trying to figure out why you're not the type you claim you are, and they don't believe anything. This is where it gets fun. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this reaction video. I didn't know if I wanted to post this, but I did because I'm okay with this video being live. I mean, I talked about a lot of stuff that I don't give two shits about today. Epstein-Barr, don't even care. Medical medium, get out of here. Like, I've had a complete mindset swap over the years, and I make it sound like negative. It's really positive. I've defined my own parameters, which are based off of what I like and what I want to see. And I want that for all of you here too. So if you like the video, leave a comment. Give it a like if you like giving it likes. Share it with a fellow INFJ because, hey, INFJs need to hear the truth about unlocking wellness and success by me in the present, not the past. And see you in another video very soon. Bye-bye.